I'm Rodney, and we are starting a new series today about something we all wish we had more of: power. Let me ask you a question, and I guarantee you it's something all of you have thought about as a little kid. If you could have one superpower, what would it be? Would you want to fly? Would you want super strength? Would you want super speed, or be able to read people's thoughts, become invisible? How about eat an unlimited number of tacos? What superpower would you want? I don't know about you, but it's pretty easy for me to think of a superpower or two that I would want. I'm guessing you could do the same. I, for example, would have to go with flying. Why? Because flying's awesome. But as I was thinking about that question this week, I thought of one superpower that, if I'm honest, I think we would all actually want over all the other ones. And my guess is none of you mentioned this superpower when you thought about it a minute ago. But I think once you hear what it is, you'll probably want it. And if I'm honest, I wish I had the power to make everyone like me. That doesn't sound like much of a superpower, does it? But think about it for a second. I mean, really think about it. What if you had the power to make everyone like you? Think about how much effort we put into making people like us on any given day. What would it be like to never worry about that again? To not have to spend so much time thinking about what to wear or how to act? If you had that superpower, you could walk into any room at any time and never feel uncomfortable. If you messed up, or if you failed or made a complete fool of yourself in front of people, you'd never have to worry about it because everyone would still like you. Is this anyone's new favorite superpower yet? Whether we realize it or not, so much of our effort and energy go towards wondering what other people think about us. I mean, this is true for our whole lives, but it's especially true during middle school. We all know the drill in middle school. There are groups of people. There's the in crowd and the out crowd. There's the athletes and the nerds and the gamers, the musicians, and so on. I mean, everyone to some degree is trying to find their place, to find their people, to find where they fit, and to find a place where people like them. Obviously, we don't have the power to make everyone like us. No one has that power. Not even the most powerful and the most likable person in the world has that power. Taylor Swift doesn't have that power. And not even Jesus himself, the Son of God, had that power. But here's one thing that's so amazing about Jesus. He may not promise us the power to make everyone like us, but he tells us about another kind of power. It's a power that is given to every single one of us in the room, and this power is limitless. And you know what's even better about this power? It may not make people like you more, although it might, but it will change your heart. When you use this power, I think you'll find that you start to care far less about whether or not people like you. Let me show you what I mean. Jesus demonstrates his power in an incredible way in John chapter 13. This story takes place on the night that Jesus was arrested, the day before he was to be crucified. Jesus knew he was going to die, but his friends didn't. So he gathered his 12 closest friends together in a room for a final meal together. And at this meal, Jesus did something absolutely incredible for his friends. Now, John, the writer of the book where we can read this story, tells us about it. And let's start reading it together in John chapter 13, verse 3. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. Now hang on, just so we're clear, look at the beginning of this sentence again. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power. John is telling us that Jesus truly was the most powerful person in the universe. All things were under his power and under his control. And here's the crazy part. Jesus knew it. He was very aware of who he was and the power he was capable of. He could do anything at any time. I mean, what if you were in that position? What if you were the one who had all the power in the entire universe? What would you do with it? Here is what Jesus did with his power. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. What? I mean, are you kidding me? You have all the power in the world to do anything. And what did Jesus do? He washed and dried his disciples' gross, stinking, dirty feet. When Jesus asked himself the question, what should I do with all of this power that I have? His answer was, I'll give it away. I'll wash my friend's feet. His answer was to serve. His answer was to love. His answer was not to use his power to get, but to use his power to give. And this foot washing thing might seem to us like a strange or insignificant thing to us. I mean, maybe you're wondering why this act was such a big deal. I mean, Jesus didn't go out and save a life. He didn't end world hunger. He didn't give away $1 million. But he did see the needs of those around him, and he chose to meet those needs. What he did was small, but it was so powerful. And his disciples got the message. Jesus, the most powerful person in the universe, was saying, I'm not here to get something from you, but to give everything away. I mean, isn't that crazy? Jesus had all the power in the world, but instead of flaunting how important he was, he chose to serve and to love people instead. This idea is even more powerful when you realize that at the same time, Jesus knew he was going to be killed the next day by people who hated him. I mean, if there ever was a time for Jesus to care about what people thought of him, it was then. But no, Jesus didn't seem to care very much about who liked him and who didn't. But do you know what he did care about? Loving people, caring for them, meeting their needs. In fact, he loved people and you and me so much that he was willing to die. For Jesus, the most powerful person in the universe, getting people to like him didn't matter. But giving and loving and serving the people around him, yeah, that mattered. You and I may not have superpowers, but we all have the power to serve. We can all set aside our pride and our dignity to give something away and to serve others just like Jesus did. What would it look like for you to do this? For you to leverage the power you have to serve someone else instead of being served? Obviously, it would be weird if you started washing people's feet. Not quite sure how that would go over at school, but what could you do instead? How could you leverage your power to make someone else look good? How can you look beyond yourself to see the needs of others? It could be as simple as asking someone, how's your day? And really listening to their response. It could be as easy as talking to someone who rarely gets talked to or acknowledged at lunch. It could be elevating someone through a compliment or encouraging word. Sometimes our greatest power can come from our smallest acts. You don't have to solve world hunger, but you could help solve someone's hunger to be noticed or to be cared for. You have the power, the superpower, right at your fingertips. This week, what would it look like if you tried this? What if just for 1 week or even just for one day this week, you made serving others a priority? I think it would make a monumental difference in the lives of people, don't you? This week, why don't you try it? Go serve someone, because remember, your greatest power play is giving something away.